everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be making shortbread Halloween cookies. And it's going to be a different recipe than I used last time when I made the shortbread babies. And to make them Halloween, I'm going to be using the cookie cutters that I bought at the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to try and add food coloring to maybe make them orange or black. I don't know how well that is going to happen with the shortbreads. This is actually round 2 of the cookies. I tried to make some and I followed the recipe wrong. I added too much flour, which by the way almost makes for really good just eating shortbread dough. And there's no raw ingredients in this really. I mean, it's butter, sugar, vanilla extract, flour, and cornstarch. So it doesn't have eggs like, you know, the bad raw cookie dough. So raw shortbread is actually, it's pretty yummy. And this time around I'm following the Martha Stewart recipe, as I bought this cookbook many years ago and I've only ever used it for one recipe, and that one other recipe also happens to be a cookie recipe. And so part of what she said to do is you sift the flour and the cornstarch. So I've pre-sifted the flour and cornstarch, and bottom of the bowl's wet. I have kind of cubed butter. Hopefully it's room temperature enough to cream it, because you have to cream the butter with the sugar, then you mix in the vanilla extract. And also what I learned in that little pre-session is to color it. I'm going to color the wet ingredients, if you will, the creamed butter, because once it's all mixed in, I think maybe because the cornstarch, the color didn't really blend through. It just kind of stayed in little weird dollops. So and also, like I said, I did this before and I did the full recipe and messed it up, and I only had 1 stick of butter left. So this time around I'm only going to do 1/3 of the recipe. So this is when math is your friend. The recipe is 3 sticks of butter, 3/4 cup sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 1 cup of cornstarch, and then you can put this royal icing on top, which I'm not going to do. So in order to third it, I have the 1 stick of butter. I'm going to do the 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/3 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, which I don't have a 1/3 teaspoon measuring spoon, so I'm just going to use the half and just not fill it up all the way. I have 2/3 of a cup of the flour and 1/3 of the cup of the cornstarch. And like I said, the mistake I made the first time around is I did 3 cups of flour instead of just 2. So they became very crumbly. The dough did not actually stick together to be good dough for the rolling and the cutting. So let me get the hand mixer, because I don't have a stand blender and I really don't feel like creaming the butter by hand with the fork. If I'm going to continue to make shortbread cookies, I think I may invest in a stand mixer, because that would make life so much easier. So here's the big differences between the 2 recipes. The other recipe used powdered sugar, and this recipe uses regular sugar and puts the cornstarch into the flour. So, I mean, that's the big difference. And I guess it's a little more complex, but we'll see how they taste. Still thick on the beaters. Okay. Woo! So now we did that. Here's my pre-sifted mixture, and we stir this thoroughly. Oh, right. Food coloring. I looked up to make black, you use equal parts of all the colors. So let's see. I think that was a big glob of green. Big glob of blue. Big glob. By big glob, it's 2 to 3 drops. Well, it does look kind of black in there. Let's stir that together. And actually, I don't know if you can tell, it looks kind of kind of green, like a very green. So let's try adding, I guess, a little bit maybe more blue and red. Now it's looking kind of purpley gray. So maybe just a scooch more green back in it. I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna do a little bit at a time with the dry ingredients, because I remember that last batch, the original batch, kind of hosed up my hand mixer. So okay, not too bad, not too bad. Just try and just do the rest. Oh good, making a mess, which I always do when I bake. On the bright side, it got a lot off the beaters. Let's see if I mix this by hand a little bit. Oh yeah, it does kind of mush down. I mean, it got like very crumbly, like I was afraid the food coloring would change the consistency of the dough, and being a little gun shy for messing it up before, this doesn't look too bad. Okay, so now the next step is going to be to lay it out in plastic wrap and make a disc out of it and have it chill for 2 hours. You see how it looks crumbly, but it is starting to come together. I'm thinking if I just, you know, mash it. Of course, it could also be that I creamed it too long putting in the food coloring. Although it does seem to be coming together into a nice doughy, I guess, consistency here. Now, Martha says here, you know, form it into a flat disc. It's kind of disky. Okay, so there's my mostly flat disc. Mostly flat, mostly disc. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for 2 hours to let it chill. And you can see, I mean, the color's kind of, it's not bad. Not bad. All right, I'm going to let this chill, and then we'll come back, roll it out, cut it, and bake it. Okay, it hasn't been quite 2 hours, but I don't have high hopes for it. It feels about the same hardness as the messed up batch. But I'm going to try and roll it and cut it and see what happens. I put the oven on for 325. I lined a baking sheet with parchment paper, and I'm now going to try and roll and cut some of these and just kind of hope for the best. They're going to go in the oven for 5 to 8 minutes. And I know it says to roll them, you know, on a surface with flour, but I'm just going to try and roll them between my saran wrap here and see if I can get, like I said, if you can see it, I mean, it's breaking apart. It's not, let's just say it's not looking promising. Doesn't say how thick to roll them out. Roll out, cut out shapes. All right, we're gonna try kitty cat. Oh, it cut well. The underside doesn't look that good. Yeah, they're very crumbly, but then again, I mean, that's kind of what shortbread is. Oh, it looks kind of cute. And they're a lot thinner than the babies I made, so I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll turn out okay. Let's make. But it almost feels like the consistency of maybe Play-Doh. But like I said, I can feel the grit of the sugar. And when I tried to look up the recipe online to link it, I could not find this particular recipe on the Martha Stewart website. So I am not really sure. Maybe she figured out better recipes in the time the cookbook was made. I mean, they don't look bad. They look pretty cute. I mean, I got a good grayish color for my Halloween theme here. I'll make I think I have enough rolled out here to also make a pumpkin, which completes the goal of one of each of the cookie cutters. And let's see what we can do. It's very crumbly, but it tastes good. Alright, while I try and make sense of this dough, I'm going to pop the ones I cut in for 5 minutes. Well, 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so let's check it out. I'm going to put them back in for a few more minutes, because, I mean, okay, so the tray's hot. So there's what they look like for now. You can definitely tell they are cooking. The poor kitty melted a bit. I don't know if it's because the parchment paper won't stay down. The tombstone is melting a bit. But they feel doughy now. Don't judge. Alright, so I ended up keeping them in, I don't know, an additional 5 or so minutes. The only one that really came out unscathed is the ghost. The others, I mean, the bat only cut in half. The cat's tail came off as I put it on the plate, the pumpkin, the tombstone. So I don't know if it was the food coloring, and that's why this particular recipe said to do icing on it. If it was just I still didn't get the proportions right somehow. But again, if I'm going to make shortbreads again, I'm probably going to go back to that first recipe. It was simple, and they actually did turn out as I expected them to turn out. The cookie cutters worked well. I enjoyed the cookie cutters. And let's I mean, they definitely do taste like shortbread. They have that well, you know, with shortbread, I mean, see, they're crumbly. They have the butter, the sugar, that heavy shortbread texture. Again, if you like shortbread, you'll know, you know what I mean by that. So cooking them definitely does elevate. I mean, the dough is really yummy raw, but cooking gives it that little extra density. So again, like I said, lessons learned, probably don't add food dye into the shortbread mix. I read that the cornstarch is supposed something with the gluten, that the butter has the fat, and it's supposed to tie it together. Yeah, I don't know. This was kind of a fail. However, they taste good. And I guess if you're not going to share it with anybody, tasting good is really all that counts. But, yeah, Fail. Big fail. So once again, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching me fail. I mean, again, it tastes good, so I really don't mind the failure. Please don't forget to give a like and subscribe. And until next time, stay spooky.